Hi, John from Diode Dynamics. Today we'll be installing our true 9-inch LED Elite Max headlamps for the JL Wrangler and JT Gladiator. Now, whether you have the stock halogen or LED package, these headlamps will provide you an increased performance, an integrated SAE and DOT compliant turn signal, as well as several other features. Today, we'll be installing them on this JL Wrangler, but if you have a Gladiator, the process is exactly the same. Let's get started. To begin the installation, we'll start by popping the hood. Then we can grab a plastic trim removal tool because we'll be removing 6 plastic clips along the top of the grille. Next, we'll be removing the grille. It's important to note if you've never taken yours off before, it may be on there pretty tight. To do so, we'll want to grab the grille from the center and pull it straight off the vehicle. We can now grab a 10mm socket with an extension to remove the 3 bolts holding on our headlight housing. Next, we can round our connectors. Before doing so, we'll repeat the same steps we performed on this side to remove the passenger headlight. Then we can grab the main adapter harness by the end with 2 connectors and round it through the headlight hole along the fender towards the master cylinder. Grabbing a 10mm socket, we'll be removing these 2 bolts here holding on this fuse box so we can move it out of the way and gain better access to our connector. On the underside of the fender is our factory connector held on by a retaining clip. We'll need to pull it off by sliding it towards the outside of the vehicle. Now we'll pull back the red locking tab on our connector and disconnect it, and then plug our adapter harness in line, making sure to re-secure it by sliding the locking tabs forward. Coming over to the passenger side of the vehicle, we can take our other main adapter harness and route it through the headlight hole, under the intake, along the fender, and then down between the battery and the fuse box. At this point, we'll need to move underneath the vehicle to gain access to our factory connector. Just like the driver's side, it's held on underneath the fender on a retaining clip that we'll need to slide off and then disconnect to plug in our main adapter harness in line. Next, we'll be taking our DT connector on the long end of our signal harness and routing it through the headlight hole across the radiator support to the driver's side. Now, since this Jeep wasn't equipped with auxiliary switches from the factory, we'll need to install our switch. If you do have auxiliary switches from the factory, then you can skip to the timestamp below.
We will now take the bare blue wire lead from our switch harness and insert it into the butt connector of our DT signal harness, and then using a crimp tool, you'll secure them together.
Next, we can take the switch portion of our harness and route it with our main adapter harness along the fender to the battery and fuse box. Taking a 10mm socket, we'll be loosening the nut on the positive terminal of our battery so we can slide in our main power wire and then tighten it back down. Some trims of the Jeep came with the auxiliary switch panel from the factory. Jeep has included 4 power wires for this exact purpose, and you'll notice them tucked in by the battery. You have 2 10-amp wires that are orange and blue, and a brown and green wire that are both 40-amp wires. For our purpose today, we'll be connecting the brown 40-amp wire that is connected to the number 1 auxiliary switch in the cabin. Jeep has also included a factory grounding point for this exact purpose. You'll remove the nut with a 10mm socket, attach your ground wire, and secure it. With your ground wire secured, you can connect your power wire. we're going to remove just a small section from the factory wire to gain access. With just a couple millimeters of wire exposed, you'll go ahead and plug in your butt connector and crimp it down. Once your connection is secure, you can go ahead and tuck the rest of your wires back down. Next, we can open up our fuse box and grab our fuse pulling tool to remove the 20 amp cigarette lighter fuse from slot F52. We will then place that 20 amp fuse into the first empty slot on our add a fuse harness and plug that back into the cigarette lighter fuse in slot F52.
If you're adding a switch, you can now route the rest of your wiring across the engine bay and through the firewall to the location of your choice. Just make sure you secure it away from any hot or moving parts.
Then you can come back to each headlight hole and plug in all of your connections into their corresponding connectors.
Finally, we can plug in our Elite Max headlights, making sure to slide the red locking tab forward and bolt on the lights to the vehicle. You'll now want to aim your lights using the provided adjustment tool. For further instructions on how to properly aim your lights, click the video link in the description below. Then you can reinstall the grille and put everything back together to complete the installation.
As you can see with our Elite Max headlights installed, not only do you have an increase in output performance compared to stock, built-in off-road lighting, road legal turn signals, blacked out aggressive styling, and more, but you also have the ability to cycle between 4 DRL styles as well as 4 different show modes effortlessly without getting out of the vehicle.
See the video in the description below for more information on programming the headlights.
If you're looking to pick up a pair of our Elite Max headlights or any of our other products, visit our website at diodedynamics.com or use our dealer locator tool. And if you want to stay up to date on any newer future products, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Thanks for watching.